Hello friends, we're back again. Greg and Terri show on a very special episode that's live because of the 2024 eclipse.
Really exciting. We're all excited, right?
Yes. Why is this so special?
Well, this is a special one because it's actually going through the United States. It's going to hit a lot of big cities in the United States, Mexico, Canada. So a lot of big populated areas. So there's a lot of stir. A lot of people are excited to see it.
They happen every 18 months, but we don't always get to witness it because of where we are.
Right. A lot of times they're usually over the ocean. So there's nobody there to witness it anyway.
So how long is it going to last?
Oh, it's going to last about 67-ish minutes.
And that is from when it starts to cover and for it's fully covered, and then it's going to move out of the way and uncover.
Right. So I went on the NASA site, just so you know, and put in our zip code. And it says that it's actually going to begin at 10:06. That's when it'll first start. And about 11:13 is when it'll be right peak in the middle. Well, we'll see, 35% here of coverage.
Yes, that's what they said, 35%. So that's still, I mean, if you think about turning down the sun 35%, that's still quite a bit. So it's going to be about an hour. Yeah, that's what I figured, right? I thought it was 10:30, but okay. So anyways, we're already tracking the sun as you're watching this, and we'll switch over to it soon, and you're going to see the live tracking of the sun and the moon eclipsing.
Now, really fun fact. Do you know when the next big solar eclipse will be here in the United States?
Like 100 years?
No, 20. 20 years. So think of yourself in 20 years.
So how old are your first graders?
First graders are turning 7. So they'll be 27.
They'll be 27. You'll probably be working and you won't have time to look at it, but you should.
Hopefully. I hope I'll not be working, but I hope I'll be here to see it. Because, yeah.
So when you do look up at the sun, we have to be very careful because you can hurt your eyes and your camera.
Right. Now, looking up at the sun anytime can hurt your eyes. But the reason why we stress this with the solar eclipse is because when that's happening, we want to look up at the sun. So you really want to protect your eyes. You don't want to wear your sunglasses because these aren't going to help. What you want to wear are these special viewing glasses that are approved by...
You need your regular glasses.
I need my others to read.
There's an ISO compliance, and it has to say that on the glasses. These ones are made by Medical King. This is what Miss Tucker bought for her class, but the school, Sultana Dragons, everybody should have one that can view it or that's able to view it.
Right.
Or they got their signed permission slip.
And the one thing about these glasses is that they are so dark that you cannot see through them. They're, from what I've read, about 1,000 times darker than a pair of sunglasses. So that means when you put them on, it is pitch black until you actually look up at the sun with them.
Yeah, if you put them close to a really bright light bulb, then you might be able to see it just a little bit. But if that's the case, that means they're working. But under normal circumstances, you shouldn't see anything. And you also don't want to walk around with these, or drive your car, or skateboard, or
ride
draw,
your bike,
or eat.
Read a book.
No,
you know.
It won't work. So you're walking around, and you're like, "Hey, how's it going? How's it going?" You got your ball, shooting hoops, and then the sun. Oh yeah, that's really cool. What'd you say? I got to talk to you. So that's how it works.
Anytime those eyes are up, the glasses are on.
That's right. And also, if you have your cell phone or your camera, if you point it up at it without a solar filter, which is basically the same thing as these glasses, but they have different shapes, like they're bigger so they can go over your camera, you will damage your camera if you point it up and try to record whatever.
Right.
So, and it could even actually catch on fire. I don't want to scare you, but it's true. Because if you've ever, taken a magnifying glass and focused it on the dirt or a leaf and it starts on fire, that's basically the same thing that's happening to your eyeball.
But don't do that at home.
No, don't do that at home.
Don't do that at home.
Don't be an ant bully. So we have a little model. Was there anything else that we need to go over for the...
Well, yeah, you went over that. Let me see. We're going to be out looking at the sun very soon. And we're going to check it as it's proceeding, and then we're going to see it right in the middle. So don't worry about your pets either, because your pets are going to be fine. They don't normally look up at the sun. So they might act a little weird when it starts getting dark, when the sun is covering the moon is in front of the sun, because they're going to think it's going to be nighttime. So, other than that, it's going to last maybe 4 minutes in that part, and we should be...
That's at the
brightening up again.
totality.
Right.
Now, if you're in Texas, where it's gonna block out the sun pretty much almost 100%, I think. But in California, because of our point of view on Earth, it's only going to be 35%. Still going to be interesting, but it's not going to get as dark. It'll look like a really gloomy day, but it'll still be warm.
It'll be different. The really neat thing is, if we were in Texas, is that once that moon is in front of the sun, you'll actually be able to see the sun's corona, which means crown. So we won't see all that, but that'll be impressive because we'll get some pictures.
You know what's good about Texas?
What's that?
Barbecue.
Oh.
Ribs. Lots of good places.
Ribs.
Yeah, I worked there a lot, and used to love going to barbecue places there. Anyways, so you got to be careful of looking up into the sun. That's very, very important, because you may not feel it, you may not see it until much later in life.
You know what else is important? You got to have your Solar Eclipse snack pack.
You do.
You do. That's going to consist of sun chips. Get it? Sun chips.
Oh, look at you. You're in the green screen.
And
should have picked a different color.
And moon pies.
Moon pies.
Moon pies.
So, yes, that's important.
Because of the moon.
To celebrate the whole thing. But we have a little model here, a little toy model, and I have it set up. You can see here's the Earth, and here's the moon, and this is our sun. It's not to scale, of course. Obviously, the sun is like probably 100 times bigger than, so the scale, that model wouldn't fit into the house, okay? So let's take a look at this. Here's our model, and you could see we're at the high noon there, and you can see the United States is right there. Now it's got a little light. I'm going to turn this on, and you can see how the United States is in the shadow. Now, of course, in real life, the shadow is going to be smaller. Otherwise, the whole United States would be blacked out for 5 minutes. That's not going to be the case. But this gives you the idea of how it happens. You got the sun coming here, and then you got the backside of the moon that's catching on fire, and then it's dark here, so it's going to be kind of hard to see the moon except when it passes in front of the sun. But you can see the shadow there, and if I move this, you can see that, let me move it that way. You can see that the shadow changes, right? And maybe when it comes in front of it, like some parts can see light and some parts can't. And that's where you get the difference in location. So if you got 35% here, and then you got 100% in Texas, and then maybe in Florida, I didn't look it up, but maybe Florida might be similar to, I think they're going to get more than 35%, but they're not going to get 100. or close to that. So anyways, you could see that. It's a neat model, and maybe if you ask nicely, I will send it with Miss Tucker and you guys can check it out.
That sounds exciting.
You know what we forgot to do is
What's that?
this model moves.
Oh.
Takes a while to get started.
And what is it doing? Why is it moving that way?
Well, the Earth is rotating in an endless free fall around the sun. That's what the orbit is. And the moon is basically doing the same thing that the Earth is doing around the sun. Of course, we're going super fast. It doesn't turn that fast.
Otherwise, we'd spin off the Earth. So, whee!
It doesn't really. Oh, there we go.
You can go forward and backward in time.
Yeah, and so this brings us to April, which is about right. So that's giving us rain, April, and springtime. So, but it's not lined up right. Anyways. Whoops, what happened to me? There we go. So that's the idea behind the model. And that kind of gives you an idea of how it works if you're wondering, like, what the heck's happening up there, right? That's what it is. It's just not to scale. I don't like
Not
that.
to scale.
But
I think it's pretty neat. It's a great model.
so after this, we're going to go to the live view of the sun through my telescope, and I'm going to talk about that outside for a little bit, but then for the rest of the time I'm going to have the live view of the sun the whole time. Now there might be a few adjustments that I have to make because my tracking system seems to be off a little bit, so during that time, if you tune in, well, I guess you won't, but it's like if it goes black, it means I'm recalculating it and readjusting it so that it stays
Got to fix it.
in the center of the screen. So part of the sun's going to be cut off too. You'll see that, and that's just the way the magnification worked on my telescope. And I could have got another telescope, and it's quite complicated. But if you're interested, we'll go ahead and talk about that later, maybe at school.
So, what does a telescope do?
That's a good question. My telescope is called a reflecting telescope, and it uses mirrors. And I'm going to show you a diagram right here. This is a diagram, and it has a concave mirror that's on the bottom, which is also to the right of your screen.
What does concave mean?
Concave, it's curved like the blue part there, or the aqua part there. And you can see the other end that's open. That's the aperture. That's where all the light and the images come in. They go straight down to that mirror, and that mirror focuses the images on a smaller mirror, which is the secondary mirror. And then it does a 45-degree angle up to the eyepiece, and then there's another lens that allows your eye to go right on that so that you can take a look at it. And it depends on how far away the mirrors are for your magnification. But that's in essence how it works. It's neat.
Neato.
Mine is a reflecting. There's other ones. There's other telescopes, the older ones, that are all lenses, a series of lenses inside that you look through, and there's no mirror. But the mirror ones have better light gathering, and then they're a lot lighter for the magnifications. That's all I'm going to go into.
So he's going to set it up to look at the sun, or it is set up, I should say, to look at the sun with special lenses so that he's doing it safely, and he's going to record it. And because you're able to magnify it so much, we're not going to get the entire sun, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the telescopes are not real easy to zoom in and out like your phones do. So you have to set that up to get the correct magnification to squeeze everything in there. And then we add a video camera onto there at the same time, which changes the magnification, which gets it really hard to get, everything framed. But anyways, what do you want for nothing? This is free.
Not really.
So, and if you have more questions about it, you should Google it or go to the library.
Oh, the library is a great place to go.
You know, there's so much information about telescopes and, you know, astronomy. And I'm not an astronomer, I just play one on television. But there's lots of information. If you want to learn more, you should, because it's very interesting to know what's going on around you. And who knows, you might want your telescope. Looking at the sun and the moon with the proper equipment is a lot more interesting sometimes looking at stars, because if you're looking at the moon at nighttime, you could really see the details of the moon. So,
And some planets.
some planets, yes. So
Our closest planets.
So you need to get back to class.
I do. So I'm going to get going.
I'm going to take the moon pies, though.
Oh. Okay, bye. They really are dark. That's hard to see out of.
You like the spaceship?
I do. The spaceship's very cool. I'm worried, though. I don't know how you're going to get me back to class. You going to beat me down?
No. We have warp speed.
Awesome.
So we can warp you in. We'll be there in a second.
Live long and prosper.
Hello, boys and girls. So as we just saw on that diagram, here is the telescope. This is the reflector telescope, as I was just saying, where the mirror is right here, and then there's another tiny mirror up here, and that mirror is concave. So when we look at something, that concave curved mirror, it refocuses everything there, which gives it a magnification. And then there's another lens here so that you can put the eyepiece. But what's different on this telescope is we have a video camera, so we can actually see it. And this is called an equatorial mount. It's a special tripod that has electronics and motors so that it follows the sun through the sky. And we could see it right here on this monitor. And we may have to adjust it a few times during the next hour or so, because the wind is blowing my telescope all over the place. And up here, that is our solar filter, which makes it safe to look at, just like the glasses that you're wearing. Oops. So it takes a lot of cables to put this together. We have a recording device here, and then we have we have a tracking computer. That's what this is right here. And the tracking computer knows how the sun moves, and it moves it into position so that it looks like the sun's not moving, but it actually is. And the telescope is moving with it. And anyway, so that's the setup. And I hope you think it's cool. Let's go back inside. Okay. We're back in the studio, and now you can see we have our live image of the sun right there, and it looks like that last video stalled on something. I'm not sure exactly why, but it was just me explaining the telescope that I showed you the diagram just a little while ago. So if that is the case, I will remix this and republish it or repost it on YouTube so that it's complete. I guess a lot of people are using the internet right now. So anyways, I'm going to switch directly to the telescope feed, and then I'm going to turn off my mic so that you can watch it. And it looks like it's probably going to start happening pretty soon. And then I'll come back in the end. All right. Also, I may adjust the telescope a little bit, so if you see it moving around, it'll come back. It's very windy, so the wind keeps knocking my telescope out of alignment. So let's go cut. And there it is. So this is happening right now. It's 10 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock. Well, that just about covers it. It looks like we have passed through and over, and I don't know if that was 35%. I saw different estimates from 35 to 59% mixed in with how much the moon is going to cover. But anyways, it came out pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, subscribe and leave a comment, whatever. I think I'm going to have a moon pie, or maybe 2 moon pies. These used to be bigger when I was a kid. So that's it. A lot of work went into this. I hope you enjoyed it.